Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans, about veterans by veterans, is a project of Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Good morning. I'm Larry Ziliak, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat. And with me this week is our co-host, John Wall. And our guest this week is Tony Porta. He's a retired Marine, and he's here to tell us about not only his service and his transition from active to veteran, but also he's here as a representative of the Semper America's Fund. And I'm really interested in the fund because I've always known the fund to be the Semper Fund, which was there to assist Marines, but now they've expanded their mission to include those who are combat injured, critically injured in all branches. So we're very happy that you're able to join us, Tony. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So if you would, tell us a little bit about your journey joining the Marine Corps, why you picked the Marine Corps and not the Air Force, and your service up until that point when you sustained your injury.
Yes. Well, for me, it was 9/11. When 9/11 happened, I told my parents that I was going to join the military, mainly to do my part as well. In 2005, right after high school, I joined the Marine Corps, graduated boot camp, and deployed to Iraq in 2007. May 5th, 2007, that's when my life was changed forever. I was really bad injured, but that day I lost two of my best friends, two Marines. And since that day, I was injured May 5th, 2007. I was medevaced to San Antonio, Texas, into San Antonio, Texas, to the best burn center for the military. It used to be called Brook Harvey Medical Center. Now it's called San Antonio Medical Center, where I spent 6 beautiful years. Yes.
And for our listeners, so you know, Tony's an overachiever because during that time you had 128 surgeries.
Plus, yes.
Is that a record?
Not quite.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, it's a crazy amount of, I think about it, I think about the treatment that you received, and there's probably no other place in the world where, as an injured service member, they would get that kind of attention than here in the United States and with the U.S. military. And for those listeners who aren't aware that when I'm assuming you were injured in combat theater, you were stabilized, and then you were flown to Germany?
Yes, sir.
Lindistal. And in Germany, they decide basically where the best stateside hospital is for you based on your injuries. So our listeners understand that for burns and inhalation injuries, they almost always go to San Antonio. If you have PTS, traumatic brain injury, you could very well go to Fort Belvoir Community Hospital. And then any kind of mobility issues usually go to Walter Reed.
Yeah, that includes TBI as well.
Yeah.
They have a big center there.
Well, they have that center there because another point I want to make to our listeners is that generally, whatever combat injury you sustain, it's most likely going to be accompanied by TBI and PTS. So it's very rare that you're going to be in a vehicle that encounters a roadside bomb, for instance, and you may have some burn injuries or some sort of, broken arm or even an amputee. There's going to be TBI and there's going to be PTS. There's no doubt about it. So you get to San Antonio, and what are you thinking, or where in the chain of events did you become aware of the seriousness of your injuries?
Well, the first couple of months, it was, I think everything started back when I arrived to San Antonio. The Marine Corps, of course, called my mother and my dad and I'm from Maryland. So they flew my dad, my mother, and my sister to San Antonio because they didn't know if I was going to make it or not. I was in a really bad shape. I didn't have skin at that time anywhere in my body. My face was completely gone. My right arm was completely gone. My left hand, there were bandages all over me. So when they flew my family to San Antonio, Texas, I got there on May 7th, and in my mother, I remember the voice of my mother. The only thing that I was able to remember, it was the voice of my mother, just her. And I remember she used to tell me every single day to wake up because soon was going to be her birthday. Her birthday is on May 11th. So when I was in San Antonio, I was in a coma. I was in a really bad shape. Doctors didn't know if I was going to make it or not. But surprisingly, I woke up on May 11th.
Wow.
May 11th, I woke up saying, "Where's my mother? Today's her birthday."
Wow.
And I was, I couldn't remember nothing else. But the next day, I went back into coma for 30 days.
Wow. And when you were transferred from Germany into San Antonio, do you remember any of that flight or any of that?
Yes, I do. I remember when the ID went off, it completely destroyed my truck. I was driving that day. I had my gunner who...
You were in a Humvee?
A Humvee,
Yeah.
yes. Who lost his life right away. Same day with my A driver. And we had so much ammo and so much fuel inside the truck that my friends couldn't get near to my truck to rescue me. So I remember everything was on fire. I remember my Humvee broken in 4 pieces. I couldn't open the door. And I believe in God. I believe an angel saved my life. They opened the door for me, and I was able to get out. My friends told me the same thing. They told me they don't know how, but they saw the door opening by itself and seeing like someone carrying me to safety. I was able to get out from the truck, go to the vehicle behind my truck, and I remember my friends telling me, "Porta, hold on. We'll get to safety soon. Just hold on." Then I remember being in a helicopter, the medics trying to keep me awake, tell me, "Don't go to sleep." Remember punching me on my chest. And the next thing I remember was a little bit, I think it was in Germany, is seeing the nurses and the doctors and just saying, hold on. And after that, I just remember seeing the beautiful face of my mother.
Wow.
Wow, it's a blessing. Tony, man, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Your story is incredible. We appreciate your service and your sacrifice. And, going through that journey, I have no doubt you had an angel. Sorry you had to endure that. Sorry for the loss of your best friends while you were there.
Yeah.
The struggles that you've gone through are tremendous. I mean, you said 128 surgeries plus,
Yes.
6 years. I thought, with a TBI at Walter Reed myself, 2-3 years was a long time, but I just don't know how you did it. I was at my limits at that, and not even going through the severeness that you've gone through. And I just want to say we are here at the Willing Warrior Retreat. We're humbled, and we're blessed to have you here, and we appreciate you sharing your story. My understanding is while you're at the hospital, you were connected with a particular fund. What's the name of that fund? And can you tell us a little bit about that and how they supported you through that journey?
Yes, of course. There's the Semper in America's Fund. My family actually met them first. My mother, my father, and my sister. They were helping them from day one. But when I woke up and I was able to to see around. I remember seeing my first case manager, who was Sandra Saylor, and Karen, a long time ago, and they used to encourage me every single day, telling me, "Tony, don't give up. Just worry about yourself, and we'll take care of your family."
Mm.
And that meant a lot to me. Just remember, just like I said, we are from Maryland, and I was medevac to San Antonio, Texas.
Long ways from home.
Yes, they left everything behind, their jobs, the house, my sister. I stopped going to school. They left everything because they didn't know if I was going to make it or not. Every day was a struggle. Every day they were really happy 1 minute, and the next minute they were crying because I was doing so well in 1 minute, and then in the next minute I was down. So, and I was like that for several years. But then I remember the first time I really asked for help. It was when I was really tired of being in the hospital. We had a place for wounded warriors in outside the hospital, but they were full. My parents were staying in a hotel room close to the hospital, and they only had 2 beds for them and my sister. And I was when I was well enough to get out from the hospital, I was moved to that same hotel. I was in that hotel room for a couple of I'll say 2 months, sleeping with my sleeping in the bed, and my mother was doing wound care with my father every day, and in the same time going to the hospital and do therapies, having surgeries and things like that. But I was getting sick. I was getting really sick. It was just a hotel room,
Right.
Just imagine for myself and my parents and my sister. And then that's when I talked to Karen, and I told her, Karen, I need help. I want to move to an apartment or somewhere where I can have a little bit of space, when I can see my mother at least have some kind of privacy, or my father or my sister, because it was really hard. It was really hard for them. They never complained, but they told me, don't worry, we'll help you get an apartment. And a couple days later, I was moving to an apartment complex close to the hospital, and they helped me pay the apartment. They were also helping me with my parents. See, like I said, I have no complaints with the military at all. They did their best, but there was a big gap. There was a huge gap that the military couldn't handle.
Right.
Because in 2007, there were a lot of injuries. There were a lot of casualties. So a lot of people, just like myself, I was in another state away from home.
Right.
So my parents left everything behind, and the fund helped my parents pay for their mortgage as well back home until they could go back to work. And they did it for 6 years. Because that's how long I was in the hospital, 6 years.
And that was the Semper Fi. Back then, it was called Semper Fi Fund, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Now I believe it has transitioned a few years back to Semper Fi American Fund, and we share a common denominator here. I'm alumni as that as well, and that's because of the American Fund. I think they, like you said earlier, they were getting so many people. They were inundated, right? And there wasn't a lot of resources. And then I think they saw there was a greater need for other service members. And so they moved it to the fund, or Semper Fi Fund, American Fund. But you are right. I can vouch for you in your story here in regards to being with them. Those folks there are just amazing. They try to really go above and beyond to help the service members that are truly, injured and wounded and ill. And it sounds like they took really good care of you, and we're good to have organizations like that out there that want to step up. And when these, I don't think our listeners out there really know, Larry. These service members, they go through a lot, in the hospital. Some of them become long-term patients,
Sure.
from their injuries sustained, and even non-injuries. I think the average person, when I was there a couple years ago, was probably 3 years, 3 to 4 years, just in a hospital environment,
Sure.
doing their thing. And it's nice to have organizations like Simplify American Fund, and Willing Warrior, and there's so many other that are out there that are stepping up. And it's really nice to, understand that. I think it was like 4 Gold Star moms or something like that started organization. Is that correct, Tony? Do you know that answer? The folks that founded it, was it mothers?
No, Karen Gunter, she was a nurse at that time.
Okay.
When she saw the needs because there were a lot of casualties and a lot of injuries.
Okay.
So just a small group of wives. They raised a little. I think their first grant was for $500 when they spent it all in Wounded Warriors. Just like me.
And that started at San Antonio.
It's in San Diego.
Oh, in San Diego.
Yes, it's there in California.
In California.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then they moved to everywhere.
Yeah.
They're all well known all around the country because they have an amazing program. They didn't only help me with apartment. They helped my parents, just like I said, with their mortgage. And couple of years after me, when I arrived to San Antonio, my dad had to go back to work, and I had major surgeries. Every day was a struggle. As I said, I had over 128 surgeries. I think 143 surgeries in total.
Wow.
But some of them were really bad. Some of them were small, like opening. When I was burning, I was making a fist. So my skin melted all around my fingers. So they had to separate one finger at a time. But they were tiny compared to some other surgeries. For example, my face was so burned that I didn't have skin. Doctors have to rebuild my lips, my nose, my cheeks, my everything that you see from my face doesn't belong there. Everything belongs to they came from my shoulders. My mother my mother became my nurse, my doctor, everything. Everything. But
what a good person to have to take care of you, though, right?
Yes, but it was really tough. She couldn't handle it by herself. So when we would need help, the fund flew my dad several times from Maryland all the way to San Antonio to help me out. When I was ready to move away from the hospital area, I was able to move to a house, which the help with the fund, where the fund helped me out as well, and also helped me to provide a vehicle where I could move around with a wheelchair.
Right.
And there are a lot of programs out there, and they're still helping me out if I need it. They have amazing programs for caregivers as well. For example, being a caregiver is not easy.
No,
it's not easy. And
I mean, you basically uprooted your family to go to another state to see their son and their brother just, not the same as it was when they remembered him leaving, and their world is just turned upside down, and then they got, they're dealing with all the emotional battles and, displacement at that time, and why they're still trying to hold on to you and hoping and praying that you're going to come through and you're going to keep fighting and still be with us. And you're right, it's hard on the caregivers. And there are organizations out there that actually help caregivers. I know this is one of the organizations that can help caregivers as well, along with the Simplify. So
yes, and the children as well. For example, when I retired from the military back in 2012, I was ready to go home. I told my wife I was able to meet someone. I met my wife in 2010 when I was still having surgeries. She was able to see the person who I was inside and
Yeah, that's amazing.
not outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blessed when my son was born. We had my son in 2012, a day before my retirement ceremony. So he was a nice present.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was ready to move back home.
yeah.
I love Texas. Texas is a great state. I love Texas to death.
Everything's big in Texas,
Yes,
right?
everything is big in Texas. But
Nothing like
as
home sweet home.
yes, but as I always used to tell everyone, I used to ask everyone, why did the military have to build the best burn center in the hottest place of the U.S.?
Yeah, right.
That's
Where,
a good point.
Well,
they know we can't sweat anymore.
Yeah.
We have issues with the heat and the sun.
Sure.
So I wasn't able to enjoy my sun.
No.
It was too hot for me. Even I used to get blisters on my hands just by opening the car.
Wow.
So I couldn't enjoy my son. So in 2012, I told my wife that I want to go back home. That I want to go back home.
Yeah.
We moved back home, but I had a hard time with people back home.
Mm.
I wasn't accepted just because the way I looked. Back in 2012, I still had a lot of stitches on my face, going through some surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard. One day, I remember I took my wife and my son to a store. And as I always carry something related to the Marine Corps, so so people can know that I'm a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud that I'm always wearing something with the Marine Corps logo on it. So one day going to the store, I remember just hearing someone saying it out loud if it was worth it, and that changed. That changed
Mm-hmm.
my mindset. I started sweating. I started getting a different kind of panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me, but for my wife and son. That day, it was just a split second that I realized that I asked myself, what am I doing? What kind of life I'm giving my son and my wife? I was ready to give up. I was ready to give up. I told my wife that I want to go back to San Antonio, where
The environment
veterans.
Yes.
Yes, it's really friendly to veterans
Yes, sir.
because they are used to see wounded guys like me all the times. So I decided to go back to Texas, and I called Karen and Sandra, my case manager, and I told them I made a big mistake. I want to go back to Texas. Please help me because I'm really struggling. And I remember them telling me, "Don't do it. Enjoy your son. Enjoy. You love that area. If that area doesn't accept you or doesn't like you or the way you are, go somewhere where you can feel like home, being home." And that's what I did. I decided to drive north with my wife and found a really small town. And weeks before that, I did an interview with USA Today about when home is not home anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I found after that, we found a really small town in Lovettsville, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
when just by mistake I found it. And my wife was thirsty. We stopped at the 7-Eleven store, and when I stopped, two couples recognized me and told me that asked me if I was going to move there.
Oh,
I said, "Oh yes, I will."
that's your sign from God.
That's
right?
yes, that's the sign. I told my wife, I think this is it.
Yeah.
I think this is it. And
And,
I
and you couldn't have picked a better place. That's a beautiful place up there. And so
yes,
we're glad you found a home.
really friendly. And I called the Semper Fund and told them I might have found the right spot. And they told me, "Are you sure?" I said, don't know, but it feels like home.
Mhm.
And they told me, don't worry about anything. We'll help you get a rental home just to make sure that that is the place that will be forever home for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there for 2 years, and the fund also helped me with another organization to build a house where where I can do everything by myself. It's a smart home.
Smart
Mhm.
home.
Yeah.
Yes, and my guys, without the fund, I don't think I would have make it this far.
Yeah.
Because one, they gave me the peace that I needed in the beginning, just to focus on myself
Mm-hmm.
and not worry about my family, about them losing their homes
Mhm.
or their jobs. They were with me since day one until now, and they take care of my family. I know for a fact that if something happens to me, they will always be there for my family.
Mm-hmm.
They help my wife as well many times with amazing retreats and amazing programs, because I think it's not only us that we suffer, it's our wives and our kids as well.
Sure. Sure.
Because, for example, me, I struggled with my wife several times, not because I wanted to, but there were a lot of wounds that I didn't close. I wasn't able to close those wounds. And unfortunately, my wife had to pay the consequences of the nightmares, of me not being able to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
of me waking up every night sweating,
Mm-hmm.
of me sometimes when I'm really struggling with depression, I go to the basement and just stay there, and my wife has to have to endure all of that pain with me.
Mm-hmm.
So they help my wife as well, and I can say the fund has helped me so much.
Yeah.
And they have done so many things for so many veterans.
Let's get our listeners to the fund webpage, and it's really simple. It's thefund.org, thefund.org. I want all our listeners to go there, and our regular listeners know what I'm about to say. When you're there, you know where that donate button is. It's up in the right-hand corner. It's a big red button. It's the same for all veteran service organizations. But if you're going to go to that webpage, I want you to make a donation, because you have heard Tony's story, and the amount of assistance that he's gotten is tremendous. And he's not the only one. It's not like they do this for just one or two guys. They need substantial financial assistance. And, if you are active duty, think about CFC. If you work for a company that will match your donation, let them know that you want to give to the Semper Fi Fund, America's Fund. Give what you can, because this is one of the organizations out there that is filling the gap in such a way that it's changing the lives of our wounded, ill, and injured service members. And so I can't say enough about what they do and how they've helped you. And they have a lot of programs. They have transportation programs. They have job placement programs. They have caregiver programs. They have financial, what they call bedside assistance, financial assistance. So in your particular case, your family's case, I know they had, it's not just fly them to San Antonio, but then you have expenses like, okay, and we need toothpaste. We need
Food.
change of
lodging.
clothes. We need things that cost money. The Semper Fi Fund is there, and they're there to help, and they are actually helping. So please, it's thefund.org. Want everybody to check the webpage out and donate. Bang on that big red button and donate what you can, because this is really a place where you can make a difference, where you can put your money, and you know that your money is going to be put to good use. So really, come and visit that webpage. Check it out. It's thefund.org. Tony, as we kind of wrap it up here, sort of gone over a little bit, but that's okay. You have an amazing story, and I don't think our listeners are going to mind one bit. If there's one thing that you can leave our listeners with and let them know about Semper Fi America's Fund, what would that be?
They will not be able to do this job with all of your support. We count on your support. Like I said, I'm not the only one. There are thousands of guys that they're still struggling. They're still struggling out there, and they will need help for a long time. There are still a lot of injuries right now that are happening during training, and we need to make sure that our young generation, they know that if something happens, a great organization just like the fund will be there, will be for them for a long time. They will be here for a long, long time. They cannot do it without your support.
Right. Well, thank you.
Just make sure that they have changed my life forever, and they're changing many lives forever, and they have done it for a long, long time.
So, John, as an alumni, Semper Fi alumni, what do you want our listeners to know about your experience?
I won't really talk about my experience. I mean, it's pretty much he's captured it all. This fund steps up. They really support the individual that's actually going through that journey at that time.
Right.
They do really step up and support the family, especially your caregiver. Everybody that I've encountered at the fund is just amazing. As Tony said, we both 3 different people that support us. I don't know if everybody gets the same or not, but and they engage with the wife or spouse and kids, and it's just, I think they try to really approach it from the whole life perspective, because they know there's many things that impact you, not just the injuries or whatever you're dealing with, but there are many outside environmental issues that are happening. And so they really try to bring it together and support pretty much every aspect that they can think of. And if they can't find it, they know how to reach out to get that support, or if they don't have it right away.
Right.
And like you said earlier, listeners, please, if you donate just $1 or, a couple 100,000, if you're blessed like that, that would be amazing, because we got a lot of service members that are with this fund for the rest of their life. They're alumni. They're always going to need assistance. And not only do we just need funding, we need people to volunteer. Volunteer is critical for that organization as well. So I think that, I have 2 funds that I like, or organizations. It's Willing Warrior here in Bull Run. And then Semper Fi America Fund those are the top 2 for me right now. They've really, put their money where their mouth is, and they show up, and they love and they care about everybody.
Well, once again, listeners, the webpage is thefund.org, O-R-G. Tony, thank you for coming and sitting down with us and telling your story. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
Yeah. So we'll have another episode next Monday morning at 0500. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms. We're also on YouTube and on Wreaths Across America Radio. So thanks for listening.
The Welcome Home podcast is brought to you by Willing Warriors, a nonprofit organization serving active duty service members and veterans since 2012. To learn more, please visit our webpage at willingwarriors.org.